Ooh, pardon me. We have made it through yet another week of quarantine. Semi-quarantine. I think that the Pacific Northwest, like a lot of the country, is starting to open up a little bit more. So not quite like the quarantine lockdown that it has been in previous months, but still working from home, hanging out at home, having some lunch. Today, I saw that there were a couple of these varieties of Franz donuts that were new that I've never had before, so I figured I'd give them a shot. Let me see here. These are limited edition strawberry lemonade and regular old lemon donuts. So two that I've never had before, so I figured I'd pick them up, try them out for lunch. Thank you guys for joining me for yet another lunch live stream. Oh my goodness. I am having some trouble opening this thing. I hope you guys, anyway. So thank you guys for joining me for lunch. I hope you guys have something to snack on yourselves. It's always good to try not to go too hungry in the middle of the day. Oh man, these things smell so artificial. I gotta take a look at the ingredients list here. See if there's any strawberry or any actual lemon in these things, because it sure doesn't smell like it. Let me see here. We have 2% or less of canola oil, defatted soy flour, dried strawberries, we do have those, egg yolks, enzymes, fructose, guar gum, Karaya gum, leavening, mono and diglycerides, natural and artificial flavors, potato flour, red 40, salt, soy lecithin, wheat flour, wheat starch, water, palm oil, sugar, donut coating is powdered sugar, water, sugar, stabilizers, palm oil, natural and artificial flavors, and salt. Alright, so no actual lemons in these things, but we're still going to give them a shot. Okay. So, definitely tastes the strawberry in those, but also just kind of tastes like somebody put a dash of like hydrochloric acid in there or something to make it a little bit more sour. Not sure how I feel about that. Not really the best donut ever. I'm going to try these lemon donuts, see if they're any better. I hope you guys are having a little bit better of a lunch than I'm having right now. Alright, trying these Franz just straight up lemon donuts. I'm not really looking forward to this. Oh, these do have a little bit of a better smell to them, so maybe they've got lemon oil or something like that in them. Yeah. These aren't too bad. The lemon donuts aren't too bad. Tastes like they have actual lemon in them, not just artificial flavors like that candy, overwhelming like candy chemically flavor in them. But still, not quite what I would have expected. For a donut, I think I'd give these a pass and just go with regular old glazed, old-fashioned donuts. But that's alright. Can't win them all. Sorry, Franz, not the best. I don't think I'm going to be buying these again. But, you know, if you don't never try anything new, then you're never going to find anything new that you like. So, always good to try them. Thank you guys for joining today. Got Fabian in the chat. Says, hey, Steve, do you know if cheese causes acne? Dude, I don't know. I think that you probably shouldn't be rubbing cheese on your face. No, I really don't know that much about acne. It's been a long time since I've had acne. So, not something that's been top of mind for me. But an interesting topic. Maybe it's something I can look into in the future. And you're asking about whether skipping meals is good if you're not hungry, and about intermittent fasting. I mean, I don't really, I tend not to do a whole lot of intermittent fasting just because my energy output is super high. But when it comes to skipping meals, if you're not hungry, like, of course, if I'm not hungry, I'm not going to eat a meal. I think that, like, if that kind of technically qualifies as intermittent fasting, if I skip a couple of meals and don't eat for, 16 or 18 hours or whatever. But, like, I don't go out of my way to skip meals, I don't do any of that stuff, mainly because, like I said, I've got a pretty high energy output, and I do not want to try to, I've had periods of, like, a pretty bad hypoglycemia in the past where I was clearly not fueling myself enough, and it was just pretty terrible, so I don't want to put myself in that position again. And we've also got Oh, Manic Woods, thank you for joining. I haven't seen you in the chat for a while. Good to see you, man. Says the Rabbit. Yeah, it's me. It's the Rabbit, definitely for sure. Well, we'll see if these donuts like grow on me or something. So it is the week of July. Let me see. Today is July 24th. So yesterday, July 23rd, like I mentioned on Wednesday yesterday, Microsoft had their big announcement, kind of like their not E3, basically video games announcement that they were doing instead of E3. Since the Electronic Entertainment Expo was canceled this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of the big studios are doing their own announcements. Microsoft took it online, just did like a 1-hour presentation yesterday. If you guys tuned in, I'm sure you saw something that you liked. I mean, there was a little bit of everything that they showed off yesterday. I think that the tone of the overall presentation was like there. It was pretty revealing. Basically, is one thing that I want to say. If you saw the Sony stuff, it was all about PS5 and trying to sell those consoles, just like trying to sell as many consoles as possible. And I think one of the things about the showcase yesterday was like this was pretty news to me. Like, even though I work at Microsoft, I am not privy to most of the stuff that goes on there. So a lot of what happened yesterday was kind of news and surprising to me. But one thing that I thought was pretty cool was that instead of pushing for selling as many consoles as possible, Microsoft was really like pushing to sell the Game Pass, basically. So like instead of selling consoles, it feels like Microsoft is more about selling games, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So I think that I don't know. I mean, hopefully it's the right thing that, like who cares about the console? In all reality, gamers don't play Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo Switch. Like I've said before, gamers play games, and whoever's got the easiest way to access the best games, like that's where you're going to go play your games. So hopefully folks kind of took that away. Yeah, so hopefully people took that message to heart and like, if they want to buy a Games Pass, it's a great way to get access to a ton of games, stuff like that. I'm not going to turn this into like some commercial for it, of course. I don't have a huge stake in Microsoft. I just work there. Let's catch up on some of these comments. Juan Maldonado, sorry about that. Juan Maldonado, a bit of a mouthful there, says, "Hey Steve, glad to see you're A-OK. A-OK, thanks man. It's always good to see everyone here." Manic Woods asks, "What is the point in buying a PS5 or Xbox nowadays when they're as expensive as a PC?" I don't know that the price was actually announced. I don't actually know what the price of the consoles are going to be. Well, no, the price of the PS5 was announced, but I don't think the price of the Xbox was announced. I mean, the main benefit nowadays is that basically console gaming is like, it's very simplified. Like I've noticed that a lot of my PC gamer friends, who were PC gamer friends in younger years, prefer console gaming nowadays because it's just so simple and it's so straightforward. They don't want to put up with the shenanigans of like updating to the latest hardware and making sure that your drivers are all updated and everything along those lines. And of course, when game studios are making games for consoles, they can a lot of times like target that specific hardware to get every single ounce of performance out of that hardware. So a lot of times the console games, they're tuned to run as best as possible on those consoles. So you end up getting a game that looks like it's running on like a $2,000 PC, even though it's running on like a $400 console or something like that. So it definitely has its benefits. If you are a PC gamer, I mean, it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. If folks like playing with keyboard and mouse. Actually, I take that back. You can do keyboard and mouse on console. I don't know if most games don't implement keyboard and mouse, but it is something you can do. But I definitely understand like some people just like PCs better than consoles. Mason N says, "Hey Steve, donuts look fire. Hope you're doing good." Yeah, man, thanks. I'm doing great. Oh, and you're saying Microsoft should just put all their games on Windows 10. I think most of the games are on Windows 10. I mean, let's see. I don't know if Forza's on Windows 10. there was some. I saw a couple of comments come out yesterday about there was no announcement of Microsoft Flight Simulator, which, if you've never played Microsoft Flight Simulator, it is, like, bar none, the best flight simulator in the world. It's pretty amazing. Like, no joke. It is an incredible flight simulator. Really varied, giant maps. It's really incredible to play Flight Simulator. As for Halo Infinite, it is going to be on Windows 10. I think you can buy it in the Windows Store or in Steam if you want to play it on PC instead of console. And the same goes for the Master Chief Collection. You can buy the Master Chief Collection, which is the original older Halo games. You can buy those on Steam or the Windows Store right now. So yeah, I think most of the games are actually on Windows 10. And as we move to the future, I mean, I think as gaming moves more towards, like, games as a service and moving into the cloud, then you're going to see things like consoles kind of taking a backseat to basically your console or your PC acting as a sling box and just, like, rendering what's going on in the screen, and all of the, like, game logic and everything is calculated somewhere else in the cloud. So you're probably going to see a future where you don't actually have much happening on a console or gaming PC at all. I think it's really interesting the way the industry is moving, the way things are going. But yeah, I mean, like, most of these game studios, even though they're part of Microsoft Game Studios, they started as third-party game studios. So they kind of, like, they do a little bit of their own thing. Like, I think 343 and Halo on the Halo franchise, and Forza with the which is made at Turn 10. Like, a lot of what they do is like trying to push the hardware and the current state of the art as much as they can, and the platform as much as they can. So they kind of like they do as much to test the hardware to make sure it is usable as a gaming platform as much as they do make games and stuff for the masses. A little bit of inside baseball there that hopefully nobody should ever care about, but gamers don't really care about that kind of stuff, I don't think. Very interesting in my eyes, but very interesting from my perspective as a game developer, I should say. I think it's more interesting and not super practical for most gamers to really care that much about that kind of stuff that's going on, though. Always interesting to hear about it, I should say. All right, so yesterday, like I said, Microsoft announced so many games. Oh my goodness, it was incredible. So they had their big announcement. I found it, like, you can find articles abound on the stuff that was announced yesterday. And if you haven't checked it out, it's like game trailer after game trailer after game trailer. It's a pretty awesome announcement, in my opinion. You know, they weren't pushing the console. They weren't talking about consoles at all. They were just talking about games yesterday. It was really cool. Just all these really cool game trailers coming out. So at the top of the list, we had Halo Infinite, of course, number 1 on there. The game I'm working on. So yeah, I've talked about that before, so I'm not going to talk a whole lot more about Halo Infinite. Unless you guys want to hear about it, I'd certainly love to talk about Halo Infinite. I think it's awesome. I think it's going to be really, really cool. They showed off that new grapple yesterday that Master Chief can use. It is a lot of fun to use that thing, I'll tell you what. All right, they also announced Fable. They had a Fable trailer, which is an older franchise that was created by Peter Molyneux, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Kind of a divisive figure. The Fable franchise was really cool. He promised the world with that franchise, and he kind of fell short on the delivery, but it's still a pretty beloved franchise. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it. I don't actually know what's going on with Fable, so gonna have to get that info from somewhere else. Let's see, anything else super interesting? Forza, I mentioned it before. If you want to see, like, the most beautiful games on any console running anywhere, check out Forza Motorsports. I mean, the stuff that they do at Turn 10 is Like, it's just mind blowing the kind of graphical fidelity they can get out of those games. I don't even understand how they do it. It is freaking magic to me. It's it's incredible that they have those games running as well as they do. Um, I think they had just like a little announcement trailer though, no gameplay or anything like that. So Forza Motorsports, always one to look out for. And the Turn 10, the game studio that makes Forza Motorsports, is actually just across the street from 343 Industries, where Halo Infinite is made. And it's always cool to like walk by there, and you can kind of peek into the lobby of their game studio, and they just have a bunch of cars lined up, just like a bunch of $1 million sports cars lined up in their lobby. And it's kind of fun to like peek in and see what's going on in there. What else do we have? State of Decay 3. State of Decay, not really a franchise that I've ever played too much. It always looked really interesting, kind of like a survival horror game. Survival horror game, and like almost like a community building game, resource gathering game, that kind of thing. Pretty fun. Like it feels like a bit of a grindy game, but it's a fun grindy game. Like it's the kind of game where you go in, you play a couple hours, and you feel like you made a lot of progress towards making your little community a little bit better. So I'm interested to see where they're taking State of Decay 3. And if it's cool enough, maybe I'll actually jump in and put a lot of time into it. Lots of story-based games. The Outer Worlds, with a hilarious trailer. Oh my goodness. So this is just on digitaltrends.com/gaming/Xbox Series X July Showcase, if anybody's wondering where this is coming from. Avowed, I can't even remember what Avowed was. They had so many trailers. Psychonauts 2, another big thing, like a cult classic that everyone was definitely looking forward to. I'm not going to play any of these trailers just because it seems like anytime I play videos on these live streams, I always get hit with some kind of copyright issue or something along those lines. But yeah, just tons of incredible games. I hope that... Stalker 2, another sequel that I don't think too many people were expecting. Tons of awesome games, so you guys should definitely check it out. Let's see, there was another one that I thought was really clever, if I can find it. Oh my goodness, so many game trailers. Oh. I don't know if they listed all of them. Anyway, I think there were over 20, like 22 or something game trailers or something that they were showing. So, like I said, if you guys haven't had a chance to check it out, really see some of the game trailers. Like, they're really, really cool. I do like the epicness that they were able to put into the Halo Infinite trailer. I thought they really did a good job of, having that final shot on Escharum, the big beast brute guy, screaming into the, shouting into the face of whomever's watching it, like, as a literal call to action. It just made you feel like it made you want to go and grab a controller and go tear some stuff up in that game world. It was really cool. It sent chills down my spine when I watched that thing. I think the more of these donuts that I eat, the more they're growing on me. We'll see if I can get through a couple of more by the end of this. Now, I did notice that a couple of folks online have been talking about how they were a little bit disappointed with how the gameplay looked. Like, they felt that there wasn't quite the graphical fidelity that they were expecting. And I mean, on one hand, okay, fair criticism. I think that that criticism is being taken by the studio, and I think they're going to try to address it as much as they can before launch, before everything gets locked down. But on the other hand, I don't know if Halo has ever been a franchise that's really pushed the graphical edge, pushed the edge graphically in gameplay. I think Halo, if you go back to the original Halo 1, 2, and 3, what made Halo really unique back then was that it was the first AAA game to make use of an orchestral soundtrack. like, I think it was Halo 3 that had the Gregorian chant in their like announcement trailer, and included that kind of really epic like John Sousa style soundtrack. So I feel like trying to embrace that kind of cinematic quality in a game was something that Halo did a great job of pioneering. And now with Halo Infinite, they're kind of going away from having really complex plot lines and stuff like that that they've had in a couple of the last games. This is how I feel anyway. And moving more towards just making a game that is really fun, that makes you feel like a total badass, where you're jumping around doing awesome stuff, like diving into the action head first. Like I said, feel really strong, feel epic, do epic things, of course, with an epic soundtrack. I think it would be great. I don't know. Like, I should talk with some of the audio guys, see if there's like what's going on behind the scenes with the audio design and the music design and stuff like that in the studio, because that is way removed from the stuff that I do. Like, for folks that don't know, I'm like a low-level systems and engineer, like systems engineering and like dev tools engineer, stuff like that. And when I say low level, I don't mean like low on the totem pole. I mean like it's very abstract. Like, it's not the kind of stuff that you would see in a game, basically. Like, that's kind of what low-level engineering means. It's very close to the silicon. Means that I deal basically directly with the hardware, with the stuff that I'm working on. Hopefully, nobody would ever see any feature that I work on in this game, because the only time they would notice it is if it failed. So I think that, yeah, the kind of stuff that I work on is basically like stuff that you would, as a player, would probably never even notice in a game. Oh my goodness. Manic Tricks Woods asks if I can send some cheat codes that I'm implementing. Yeah, man, I'll sneak one or two of those in just for you guys. We'll see if that goes. Our Biker, thank you for joining the stream, man. Says only a few games by Xbox, just remakes. By Xbox? You mean like by Microsoft Game Studios? I think most of those games were, or a lot of those games were announced by Microsoft Game Studios. I would hope that the majority of games that are going to be on Xbox are third-party properties. I mean, I don't want to see, I think it would kind of suck if every single Xbox game was made by Microsoft. Like I said, first-party games have a responsibility to try to leverage and test out new console features, which means that they're obligated to try to use things and try to like pioneer paths, and then the third-party studios get to take advantage of that pioneering that the first-party studios do. So I feel like the third-party studios probably have a little bit of an advantage of making the games that are going to be like have much more wide appeal, basically. Have not really wide appeal, but have much more appeal to core gamers, stuff like that. So I would really rather see just a ton of not just Xbox games, but third-party studios making cross-platform games. And I think what would be really cool is if we saw something like Destiny 2, where you could have cross-play across Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Windows PCs, PlayStations, Steam, Win32 games, Apple games, whatever. Just cross-play across every single platform. Like, that would be my dream. That is a pipe dream, though. I don't think that's ever going to happen. All right, guys. There was no ship date announced yesterday, which I was hoping there would be, because it would be great to know when we're shipping this game. As far as I know, it's still holiday 2020. I'm still working on it, still working from home. So with that, I got to sign off. I got to get back to work to make sure that Halo Infinite is as epic as it can freaking be. And hopefully you guys will pick it up. Hopefully you guys will play it. Hopefully folks will enjoy it. I hope you guys enjoyed today. I hope you guys got a chance to check out the game showcase yesterday. If you didn't, I'm going to say it again. I've repeated it so many times. Please do check out those game trailers. They were epic. They were awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'm going to eat some more lunch. I hope you guys enjoyed this lunch hour. I I hope you're able to snack on something, to nosh on something. Maybe you just dropped in because you wanted to hear me rant about something crazy, like I liked video games today. So until next week, I hope you guys have a great weekend. And yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good one.